Hello, Catanians. I have made it, finally. One of the two goals I need to be a YouTube partner, to get monetized, whatever. I have just passed 4,000 annual hours of watch time in the last 365 days. I want to thank you all for watching. I will continue to push for my 1,000 subscriber goal that I need to get both check marks. But for now, I'm very happy I finally got one check mark. It took me 4 years of posting videos on YouTube to build this up, but it just goes to show you that if I can do it, almost anyone can do it, because I just post Catan. The more popular channels post all kinds of stuff, whether it be Minecraft fail videos, various other popular video games that are coming out nowadays that I just am not up to speed on, all kinds of other stuff. But if you want to make a Catan channel, I've shown you that it's possible to build a following, and then maybe we'll get to that 1,000 subscriber mark here, and I don't know, maybe next year. But again, thank you for watching. I can't thank you enough, and let's continue the journey. Let's get on to this Catan video. And welcome back, Catanians, to Cities and Nights on the 4-island scenario with 4 players. And I get to go first, so that should be good for us, right? Well, going first, it's always so hard to figure out what the best spot is in order to have a good city placement after this initial settlement placement. So looking around, there's a lot of good spots. I'm going to go for the 4, 5, 10 on that smaller island in the bottom right of your screen and build my road towards that ore port to utilize that. Also, I maybe should have gone to point the road towards the 3-for-1 port, because I only have a 10 ore at this point, so that may have been more beneficial in the long run, and I still would have been built a second settlement on that 5 wheat, no matter which port I built on. Now, of course, after I'd already placed, I saw that what a juicy spot the 3-8 lumber would have been with the lumber port, and it would have been on the coastline. Look at Gray just getting it done. And since it's on the coastline, Gray builds a ship, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should have done that for my starting settlement placement. But I was just worried that a lot of the good ore in sheep or wheat or ore in wheat spots would be taken up. But then again, you never know, because we didn't do it like that. And we see that red, very interestingly enough, in some of my other 4-island scenario gameplays, I see one player, well actually in this case it's 2, it's red and gray. They'll build kind of in the middle of the board, because you know in the 4-island scenario, when you build your a settlement on an island you haven't built on yet in the game, you get the 1 victory point for the settlement. You get 2 additional victory points for building on a new island. Those 2 special victory points can be such game changers. So with red there, depending on, they already placed their city on the bottom left island, so they go and build on that top left island. That'll be 3 victory points. Then they can swing over around the 11 wheat and go over to the island that I'm built on, and that'll be an additional 3 victory points for a total of 6 victory points. They may even get longish road along the way, so that's 8 victory points. So I really wish I went for the 3-8 with the lumber port spot, just as Gray did. I think that was the best move for a starting settlement spot. So now for my city, I'm like, well, I really want paper, because right now no one is going to be getting paper except for me, because I'm the only one with the city on lumber hexes. And additionally, I have it on at 6. The 11's all right, but the 6 is where it's really going to bring my paper in. And you see that Gray built their city on ore and sheep, so they'll be getting coin and cloth. Not so much cloth as they will be coin, because if you look at the 6 on the ore and then the 11, 12, and of course the robber always starts out on a 12 in the 4-island scenario, because there's no desert hex, so they just put it on a 12. They never put it on a 2, it's always on a 12 in these scenarios. So I'm saying good luck to all the other players out there, because again, when you start out a game especially in Cities and Nights, it is anybody's game. You can't really predict who's going to win, because in basic Catan, you get someone that builds on two really good spots, and you can kind of be like, okay, right away, they have very good spots on the board. They have very good opportunities for these other good spots on the board. They're probably going to be in the running for winning. But in Cities and Nights, it's anybody's game. The progress cards, the longer games, because you're playing to more than just 10 victory points, the all different kinds of strategies, it just really changes the landscapes. You can never be too sure what's going to happen halfway through the game, 3/4 of the way through the game, and then in the end game. It's all really up to, you know, how the strategies play out. You just really gotta wait and see. So we will get to the title of this video. We'll talk about later in the game here, but basically it's ways to hold back the leading player in Cities and Nights. And you'll see who the leading player ends up being. There will be a few, and I will explain some ways that if you're behind in a game of Cities and Nights, all hope is not yet lost. You can try to undermine the leaders of the game to pull them back in victory points so that you can have a chance, or another player can have a chance to catch up and be in the running for winning the game. Because that's always fun. Even if you don't think you can win, but you can still cause a little bit of chaos for the leading player so that another player can come in and really give them a challenge, then I think the game just gets way more interesting. I love doing that. But what I don't like is sometimes I'll get into a lobby where, even basic Catan, where two people are friends with each other, or one person is losing and they just start helping out the leading player by giving him all these crazy trades. Like they'll accept one card and give the leading player like 4 or 5 cards, or as many as they have in their hand to trade. And to me, that's just completely not cool. Play the game like you have a chance to win. Like, don't give up like that. That's kind of like not a coward's way out, but it's just like, play to the best of your ability. Even if you're not going to win, just play it all the way through the end. You know, don't be a sore loser. Just have a great time. Because I always play every game like I have a slight chance of winning, even if it's like almost near impossible. You saw in my 100 Catan video, I made a crazy comeback and won, albeit it was against my friends, and one of them didn't have a lot of experience playing Cities and Nights, but he was still, able to figure out how to get all the way up to 12 victory points and almost 13, but I was able to undermine him in the end. So as we keep playing along here, I noticed additionally with my city placement that I could build a ship out from the 6 lumber, and then one more ship. I'm going to be on that 8 sheep, and no one is on that island. Red looks like they will be getting on the island, but they'll be accessing it by way of the 4 brick, and I'd rather get on the 8 sheep, maybe even build a second ship to get on that 2 stone in case later on, because now I'm getting green progress cards hopefully with my green city improvements. So if I can build on the 2 ore as well as the 8 sheep, then if I get mining, I will get up to 4 ore off of a single mining progress card play, because of course mining gives you 2 ore per ore hex that you are built on. Right now I'm just built on the 10 ore, but if I built on that 2 ore, it's not for the production, it's for the use of mining later on, and in the odd chance that a 2 gets rolled, because for whatever reason it'll happen in this game. Okay, so now Gray's making moves. They're gonna, once they build a settlement on that 6 ore, they will be ready to cast off and build. They'll probably do 2 ships and get on the 410 with the 3-for-1 port on the island that no one has built on yet. So I'm kind of safe, unless Red just flip-flops and moves their ship to the other side of their settlement on the 911, and then just starts trying to cut me off on the way up to that 8 sheep hex. But I don't see it happening just yet, because it seems to me Red is more concerned about either getting on that island in general just to get the special victory points, or building a settlement on that sheep port at the bottom left of your screen. And we've been defeated, and it looks like
blue will have to burn a city, and that's a shame because blue had a good spot. I actually wanted to build where blue built for their starting city on that 8 lumber 9 brick, but alas, blue took it, so I had to go to the 611. I was going to build on the 8-9, and then just like blue was, I was going to point my ship to get ready to go over to the bottom right island and get on more lumber, get on the 4 sheep as well with the settlement. But, blue kind of made those dreams go away. And there goes a 10, so I will get some ore. It's kind of a slow game for me early on, just trying to, hopefully get as much paper as I can to get to that science bonus fairly quickly. And blue also has a very good layout on the top right island because they're built on both 9s, and then they have the 6, the 10, and the 5. So they pretty much have all the good parts about that island, and they didn't worry about building on the 11 wheat at the bottom of that island, nor the 11 wood, nor the 3 wheat at the top of the island. So they're right in the perfect place to be. They have 2 settlements on there, so their production is very good because of that. So I see them being able to get a city back pretty quickly. They didn't build on ore, but their production is just so good that I see them being able to get a city on the board here somewhat soon. So I'm still kind of keeping an eye on them, even though they did have to burn a city. Now, of course, right now, I'm still wondering what's going to happen between gray and red. Who's going to build on a new island first and get that 3 victory point jump? And here goes Spy. Luckily, I don't have anything, so I'm not getting taken from when it comes to progress cards. And, okay, there goes the city wall. I thought the settlement was coming out, but not quite yet for red on that sheep port. And there goes a 9, and you'll see that 9s are going to get rolled like way too much this game, and I really should have considered building on a 9. But again, at the start of the game, how are you supposed to know which number is going to get rolled a whole bunch and which number's not? So every time a 9 gets rolled, blue is getting a sheep and a brick. And sheep and a brick, by themselves or together, don't really do much for you. But, long term, when they can pair it with the lumber that blues has coming in off the 6 and the 8, and then all the wheat he's getting. So it's a prime recipe for a lot of roads and settlements in blue's favor. And bam, just as I predicted, there goes a city back out on the board for blue. But they don't have a knight still, so we'll see what happens if the other players come through and start battling it out for Defender of Catan, so we can beat the barbarians this time around. Or if we don't, blue might have to burn that city just like they burnt their first city. And gray puts the settlement on the 6 ore, so now things are heating up because if gray gets on that 3-for-1 port on the 410 brick spot, then red will have to just settle for just the 4 brick spot. They won't be able to build all the way over there. So, and I'm getting ready to build on the 8 sheep hex, which will bring me the number 8 in my repertoire of my number set, but I'll also have another sheep hex, and hopefully if I can get a city on that, I'll be getting some cloth. But before, what would you guys do? Would you put a city on the 8 sheep, or would you put it on the 4, 5, 10 that my settlement's on? It may be obvious that the 4, 5, 10 is better because you just have a diversity of resources coming in. You have more of them coming in now that you put a city on there. But if you put a city on the 8 and you've seen in a game that the 8 has been getting rolled a whole bunch, so you'll know for a fact that you'll probably be getting a lot of sheep and cloth that way. Would you just build on the 1 really good number, or would you build on 3 kind of, okay numbers and then go from there? But red kind of made that choice for me by using Diplomat and stealing one of my ships off the board, so now I'm kind of back to square one, hoping for a 4 to get rolled, or for another player to trade me a sheep so I can put that ship back out on the board and be pretty close to a settlement on that 8 sheep. But I roll a 7. I do have 2 paper in my hand, so that's pretty exciting. And of course I gotta shut down red because just in case red tries to work their way up in ships up to my 8 sheep spot before I'm ready to build on it. And I do get Green City Improvements level 2, so 3 more paper in my hand, and I will have the science bonus. We'll see what blue rolls here. What do you know? It's a 9. So now that blue has a city on that 9, sheep, they're getting cloth as well as brick and sheep. So they're doing very well for themselves. And I see that I'm also looking at gray, because not only can gray go on that 410 brick spot with a 3-for-1 port, get those 3 victory points off of that settlement placement, but they can also build 1 ship off of their ship that's on the 8 lumber up to the 11 wheat, place a settlement there, and bam, that's another 3 victory points. So right now it's like, I think gray has the better positioning over red in terms of building on new islands to them and getting a whole bunch of victory points quickly and jumping up really high in victory points, because we're going to 16 victory points if I'm not mistaken this game, and blue's only at 4, but 6 victory points off of 2 settlement placements, that'll put them up to 10. And then I really wanted to take that trade, by the way, but I did not have a wheat to give to blue. But if I did, I would have taken that trade in a heartbeat. And blue is really, really desperately trying to build a knight and activate it, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Even though they have more than 7 cards, they just can't get it done. Of course, they don't have a 3-for-1 port, that's why. Or another port to trade in their cards at a better rate than a 4-for-1 rate. There goes a 10, and all that wheat that blue needed, it finally comes in. They get 3 wheat off of their 10 wheat up there. I get an ore. And will red usher in the barbarians? They will, and it's a 2. What do you know? So that 2 that I just can't get to and build on yet is getting rolled. And blue will have to burn that city. So that's the second city they've had to burn. They're back to just 3 settlements. So even though they're about to build on the island that I'm built on the bottom right of your screen, on that 5 lumber, they will get 3 extra victory points. But, if you burn 2 cities in a game and it's this early on, you might not be in it for the long haul in terms of being competitive to win, because I've had games where I've had to burn cities, but it was like way later in the game. I just wasn't paying attention and making sure my knight strength was up, or someone used deserter on me and stole my knights away from me so that I couldn't protect my cities against the barbarians. But if you have to burn cities this early on in the game, it's just going to set you back in the city improvement competition, because everyone else is going to continue to get coin, to get paper, to get cloth, and you're going to get left behind in that race. Plus, as a kind of, not side effect, but as a payoff of that race, they're going to be getting all kinds of different progress cards that's going to allow them to do even more things throughout the game. And you're just going to fall behind even more because of that, because you won't be getting as many progress cards as other players. And he wants brick for a lumber. And I'm going to take that, of course, because I'm not built on brick, and I would love to get on that ore port. And he wants another brick. I think I did take it, that offer. No, I guess I didn't. Will he trade the brick and the sheep for one of my lumber? And he will. So now I had no brick, and now I have 2 bricks, so all I need is a wheat, and I have a road and a settlement in my hand. Okay, so that's what he was looking for. So blue builds a 4th settlement on the board. They jump up to 6 victory points because they got the 2 special victory points off of that play. But again, the game mode, the expansion is called Cities and Knights, not Settlements and Knights. So they're going to have to get some cities back on the board as quick as they can to really be competitive here. And it also comes down to, at this point in the game, we're not quite halfway, but if you already have 2 cities or more at this point, in any game of Cities and Knights, any expansion, you're doing very well for yourself. Assuming your cities are built on at least 1 or more hexes that produce commodities. Because having multiple cities in Cities and Knights it's just the best way to go. Yes, you can build out early on and build a couple more settlements, but after that you just want to focus entirely on getting cities, city improvements, and eventually that will lead to metropolises, or you'll be very competitive to get metropolises. So I now have the cards to build a road and settlement, so that is probably what I would do, unless I get a 4 roll or someone trades me a sheep. That way I can build a ship and a settlement on the 8 sheep. Otherwise, I will be building a road and a settlement on the 5 wheat with the ore port. Oh, and this was recorded about a week ago, so people have been telling me in the comments to drop down the player icons at the top of the screen so you can see exactly how many cards everyone has, how many progress cards, what the city improvements are currently. So I will remember to do that in my future videos. This one was recorded about a week ago, so I hadn't yet seen those comments about that. So that will all be updated for your future Catan viewing pleasure. So a 6 gets rolled, and oh yeah, I had to activate the knight, so I couldn't quite build the road and settlement. So instead, I'll just get blue city improvements level 1 with that coin, and then I will build a ship towards that 8 sheep, hopefully build on it maybe next turn, but we'll see how the dice rolls go. Also, should I have turned the other way from my settlement on the 6-11 and gone for some production by building on the 3-10-11, would that have been worth it, gaining 2 extra wheat hexes in case I pulled irrigation out of the green progress card stack and thus was able to get even more wheat off an irrigation play? Or should I just continue with what I was doing to build exclusively on the 8 sheep and then worry about other stuff on my island with just the settlement, one of those ports? Let me know in the comments. There goes a 6, so I'm getting more paper. And at this point, if I get a couple more 6s and 11s, the science bonus will be mine. But at this point, I wish I had it sooner because we're getting to that halfway point in the game. There goes a 7. Gray got a yellow progress card, and I think no one else did. And of course, it's going right there where my ship is, and red does steal my paper. And it seems right now, okay, so blue has literally 0 city improvements. I don't know if you just saw that. I wish I would have kept the drop-down player icons on the screen longer, but blue has not a single city improvement of any color. So even though they might be doing pretty well at victory points, long term, that you just can't keep that up if you have 0 city improvements, because they're getting no progress cards, which is just not allowing them to progress at a quick enough rate, as you'll see later in this game. So I'm hoping for someone to trade me a sheep, and I do get it from Gray. I do have to sacrifice a lumber and an ore for it. I'm waiting to see what red offers, but red's taking too long. And now I just barely have the cards to get a settlement on that 8 sheep. So anytime 8 gets rolled, I'll get a sheep. Hopefully I can get a city on there eventually. I am also hoping for the green progress card medicine to come my way, because it will only cost me 2 ore and a wheat instead of 3 ore and 2 wheat to build a city if I play a medicine green progress card. Because you can see I only have a 10 ore, so my ore production is not that good. But my wheat production is alright because I have a 5. But honestly, it might have been a good idea to also go over to the 3-10-11 spot. Even though the numbers aren't that good, I'm still likely to get, again, the green progress card stack has so much for me in this game in terms of my strategy, because I could also pull Inventor and then swap one of those 3-10-11 numbers for like a 5 or a 9, because we know the 9s have been doing very well this game for blue. And what did I... It's like I just predicted it, but there goes another 9. There goes even more cards to blue. Of course, red does get a sheep off a 9, but until red or blue builds on that last 9 spot on the sheep and brick on the coastline, then we're going to really find out who's going to benefit greatly from those 9s. Because all blue has to do is build one road down from their knight
build a settlement and secure the 9s for just them. And then if they start getting cities on there, they'll be getting a bunch of cloth, a bunch of sheep, a bunch of brick, and then they're just about to build on that brick port as well. There goes a 5, so I do get a wheat. And as always, my favorite blue progress card, Intrigue, which is actually not my favorite progress card by a long stretch, is in my hand, so I'm not able to do much here. So Gray is just about to build on that 11 wheat. That will boost them up to 8 victory points. And Red still has not built on that sheep port, which I'm very surprised by. They do get the science bonus. Maybe that's what they were looking for. Get the science bonus first, and then get those other cards they need off of the science bonus so they can actually, start to build exactly what they want to build in a timely fashion. So I go ahead and activate my knight because I see the barbarians are halfway to invading once again. And I have the capacity to build a road, so I'm just going to do that now. I'll throw it down there and I will have an ore port soon enough. Come on, 6s and 11s. Okay, there's an 8. So I really wish I had a city on that 8 sheep, but I just don't have the means to do so right now. The other 8 that I'm also looking at is that 8 lumber, because if Gray or Blue gets a city on that 8 lumber, they're going to be getting paper, and then they're going to be giving me and Red a run for the money in the green metropolis department. Because right now, Red only has a city on a 3 lumber. That's the only source of paper they're getting. And look at those 9s, I'm telling you. So, just as I thought, Blue builds a road down from their knight. So if they get a settlement on those 9s, they'll have those secured away, and their production is going to be very good from this point forth. Let me get my grammar in the right order there. There goes a 7, and Red's actually going to put it on Gray, steal a card from them. Okay, so there's another 9 activated, and finally there's the settlement for Red. So Red is looking pretty good here. If they get a settlement on that 4 brick, they're going to jump up to 7 victory points. They're only at 4, but I haven't written them out yet because they have a good setup, and I know long term they're going to make some things happen. And unfortunately, Gray has to burn a city, but that's how it goes when you don't get a 9 out there that's activated. And in the chat, we're talking about the 9s because they're just off the charts. I think they were, at this point, the most rolled number along with the 8s, if I'm not mistaken. But a 6 gets rolled. I get irrigation. So as I talked about before, if I was on that 3, 10, 11 up there at the top of your screen, I would have gotten 6 wheat off an irrigation instead of just 2 that I could get because I only have 1 wheat hex, which is the 5 wheat. But I have 2 paper and 1 more 6 or 11, and there's going to be 3 more dice rolls before I can decide if I'm going to get the science bonus or not. So I'm hoping within those 3 dice rolls there's going to be paper coming my way. And Gray is going to roll, go for a 10, so I do get an ore. It's not what I wanted, but I'll take it. Blue gets 2 wheat, so even though Blue had to downgrade that second city they built, they're still getting 2 wheat off of 10 rolls. That's not bad. They should be able to build a settlement by their next turn, I would say. Because you saw some 9s roll in, you saw that 10 there, so they only need a lumber, really, to get a settlement on those pair of 9s. There goes a 2, again, just a weird thing. I get Smith. I was hoping for an Alchemist, but of course it's Smith, so now it's all up to me to roll the 6 or the 11 on my turn. Because I have no ports, I have no merchant, so I can't trade in anything better than a 4-for-1 rate right now. And okay, here goes road building. And then there goes this, okay, wow, so, we may be in here for a little power shift because Red has built the settlement on the pair of 9s where Blue was probably just about to do that, and they had Smith. So if Red goes ahead and activates their knights, they're going to be in the running for Defender of Catan victory point. Plus, they're in position from those 9s to build down to the 10 ore that I'm built on, Wow. Okay, this could be a huge power shift. Now, before I thought blue was gonna try to get back into this game, but getting blocked off at that spot. Well, they already had 5 settlements on the board, so it's not like they could have built a 6th one, because you can only build 5 in any scenario besides. Well, even in Greater Catan, I think you can only build 5 settlements. You just get way more cities. So yeah, either way, blue had to build a city before they could build another settlement out on the board. Okay, there goes a 4. We haven't seen a lot of 4s here. Okay, so I see that red just built, 2 level 2 knights off of Smith. So I actually might have to do the same. Put another level 1 knight on the board, then use Smith to promote them both to level 2 knights, because I'm kind of seeing red as a big threat here, and I can't let them just get any victory points easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and place another knight on the board. I use my irrigation to grab 2 wheat, and I'll activate both of these knights, so that way I'm in the contest with red for Defender of Catan. So at least we'll tie, and I'll get a progress card of my choice. All right, blue's gonna roll. Again, blue is in the lead, but I don't think they're gonna win. I really don't see it. Unless they get it like 2 cities on the board in the next, 4 or 5 turns, I really don't see it happening. I wonder at this point, do they still not have any city improvements whatsoever? So yeah, it's pretty much down. I'm doing all right, but I really need to get some more cities on the board. So right now, I think it's between red and gray in terms of competitiveness for first place here. There goes a level 1 knight activated by blue. There goes another 4. Okay, so I will get another blue okay, so that's Deserter. I'm going to use Deserter on red. They're going to give up one of their knights, and that way I will be the only one in the running for Defender of Catan. And there goes mining. So there goes some ore for gray. They're probably trying to do what they can to get a city back on the board. Yep, blue still has no city improvements. That is insane. Red is just about to get the green metropolis should more paper come their way. And I see that red has a city on a 4 ore, so they're getting coin as well. So they're becoming a powerhouse. Even though they're in dead last victory points, they have the potential to build on 2 new islands, to get 2 metropolises, take Longish Road, add all that up, and that's just a scary thought. And now, at this point, we're trying to talk about the title of this video as to get the politics bonus. So now it's kind of up to the other players, me, gray, and blue, to try to stop red in any way we can. Because I recognize at this point, there goes another city on the board for red. So now they're at 6. So they'll be getting, even though someone swapped away the 9 on the sheep with Inventor and put a 3 there, it's still scary what red has going on. So ways to hold the leading player back in Cities and Knights to slow down their maybe inevitable victory, but maybe, slow it down long enough where other players can grab Longish Road and secure it away from themselves, just so it's away from the leading player. And then also, at this point, okay, so they used Deserter on me, so I was about to use Deserter on red, and that's right. Red already had 2 level 2 knights, so they deserted one of my level 2 knights away, so they can place 1 knight of equal or lesser strength. So they're going to place a level 1 knight, and now, instead of deserting a level 2 knight away from them, when I use Deserter back on red, they're probably going to give up their level 1 knight, and I'm going to be stuck with 3 knight strength instead of the original 4 knight strength I had just a few turns ago. Okay, so for one, back to ways we can hold red back, because they're essentially, I recognize it now that they're going to be the leading player here soon enough. We can take Longish Road, so maybe gray can take it, because right now I'm really not in a position to take Longish Road. Either blue or gray should take Longish Road and keep it away from red. Additionally, I think I'm in the best position to take the green metropolis, so I'm holding that away from red. And then as when it comes to the blue metropolis, I don't think anyone can take that before red does, but it would be nice if gray could take it, if gray can get a city back on the 6 ore, and think about taking that blue metropolis away from red. So that way we take away 6 possible victory points that red is pretty close to getting. So now the only thing that we really can't take away from red is the availability of building on new islands. That's kind of hard to do unless we can find ways to block them all, red off with the pirate ship, with specific placements with that, or building to those spots that red was going to build on new islands before red does. So like if I was able to get to the 10 ore spot and build on that before red can build on it, then I can kind of shut red off from coming down to my island on the bottom right screen that I share with blue. And then additionally, gray can build on that 410 spot, which it looks like they're getting pretty close to doing, and then kind of force red to build somewhere else on that island. But either way, I think they're going to get on that 4 brick and then get 3 victory points for red. And there goes blue, so I'm sorry, gray. Gray is building on that island. So they jumped up to 8 victory points, but they really need to get a city back on the board. Here goes red. What's going to happen here? Yeah, I just feel like red's got it. They just have such a good setup. And they have alchemist. Everything's going red's way. There goes a 9. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so the other 9 that was on the sheep, I think it went... it went to the 9 off of the lumber port, because it used to be a 3 earlier on the game. So that is a very good spot. Honestly, if gray could get a city, they should probably put it on the 9-8 with the lumber port, because they can trade in paper at a 2-for-1 rate. Plus they'll be getting a bunch of paper off the 8-9. So if I was gray, I'd probably put a city on the 8-9. That might be the better move than putting it on the 6 ore. So I have 2 paper at this point. I do have medicine now, but I don't have any ore, nor wheat in sight in my hand. Okay, so it's my turn. Of course, I wish I had alchemist. There goes an 11. I do get a paper finally. It's my 3rd paper. And at this late in the game, over 37 minutes in, I will be getting the science bonus. And I also have wedding. So check this out. Every player has at least the same number of victory points as me or more. So I'm definitely getting cards. But I'm going to hold off because I will get the science bonus. And then as these rolls come in and maybe I don't have one of the rolls, I'll get a card of my resource of my choice. I'm going to wait because I'm pretty sure, I have a very good feeling that red is going to build a victory point on their next turn. If they do so, I will use wedding on my turn and I'll probably get up to 6 cards off of the wedding play, because wedding, of course, you can only use it you can only get cards from it when other players have more victory points than you. And if all 3 players have more victory points than me, then I'm okay with that, because wedding will give me 6 cards. I might be able to do something really good on my turn. Now I am 1 card away from a city because I have medicine, and I will use the medicine to spend 2 ore and a wheat, hopefully on my turn, and I'm still undecided. I may put the city on the 8 sheep, or I may put it on the 4, 5, 10. We'll just have to see what happens. Okay, so red, I'm predicting, will build a victory point on their turn. They might move their knight away from that 4 brick spot and place a settlement there. That was a 6. So they do get science bonus because they don't have a 6. Wow, so they have politics bonus and science bonus. They're 4 coin away from Metropolis, or they are 4 paper away from a different Metropolis. Okay, so they did move the knight as I predicted, and that settlement is probably going out on the 4 brick. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. So now they have jumped up to 9 victory points from 6. And if that's all, they might reactivate the knight, because the barbarians are pretty close to advancing. But I should be able to use wedding on every player, because you also want to make sure when you use wedding that every player has more than 1 card, so you can ensure you get the full 6 cards off of wedding in a 4-player game. Of course, in a 3-player game, you'd only get
up to 4 cards because you would only have 2 opponents, assuming they were both in the lead over you in terms of victory points. There goes an 8. I do get a sheep, and I'm going to see what wedding brings me because I also have irrigation, so I'm also getting 2 wheat on this turn if I so choose. Waiting for red to take from science bonus. So I'll play wedding first to see what I get, because if I don't get a lot of good stuff that I can use, then I'll hold off on irrigation. Okay, here comes some ore. That was some gray. I got some lumber from blue. And red is going to give me... Wow. 2 ore. Okay, this is actually perfect. Okay, I'm definitely getting a city this turn. I might even be able to get 2 cities. I really wish I had a merchant, because I could have gotten the green metropolis by putting merchant on the lumber, trading in 6 lumber for 3 paper, adding it to my other paper for 4 paper, getting the green metropolis before red does. Okay, so I build the city, and I'm going to build a second city because I had 3 ore left over, and I used irrigation to get 2 wheat. And why not just double down on the cities in a single turn? So now I have 3 cities on the board, and I'm in a much better position for battling it out for metropolises. So right there, I did trade 4 lumber in for 1 cloth in the hopes that I would get merchant, in these next few turns. But maybe I should have traded in the 4 lumber for a second paper, because I'm just about to get a paper off of this 6. So that would have put me at 3 paper total, and I would have been that close to taking the green metropolis. And I take so it wasn't merchant, but getting commercial harbor is still very good, because if I can use commercial harbor on everyone, I'm guaranteed to get at least 1 paper. At least I hope so. That way I can get very close to getting that green metropolis and holding it away from red for now. Because red is at 9 victory points, but if they build 1 more ship or 1 more road off of their road system in the middle of the screen, that's the longest road right there. But I'm really hoping that gray takes it before red to kind of hold it away from red. So yeah, right now, if you just look at victory points, this game is very neck and neck. But I think it's just red all the way. I think they just have so much momentum going for them that we have to hold them back with longest road, with metropolises, with hopefully, I don't think I can get there in time, but if I could block off that 10 ore, they might not be able to build on my island and get those 3 victory points. And a 7 just when we didn't need it. I just wanted more 6s my way, so I get more paper. And it's going right on that 6 lumber hex. Thankfully, gray took from blue instead, but I really think the better choice would have been to shut down red in this scenario. And gray goes ahead, and now it's like, okay, I've been kind of thinking red has been the one to win this whole time, but gray just showed out, built on the 11 wheat, and if they build 2 ships over to the right and build on the 10 ore, I also have to try to protect the 10 ore from them, because they'll jump up to 14 victory points, and if they take longest road, that's 16, they win. So I'm like, it's really coming down on the wire. It's between them 2. I don't think I'm going to hop back in the game, but I can do my part in, trying to hold off that 10 ore spot or take the green metropolis. And there goes longest road to red. We're playing to 16 victory points just to double check. There goes another ship. Wow. Okay, so that's all red can do, thankfully. There goes a 6, but the 6 is shut down. If the 6 was not shut down, I would have gotten a 3rd paper and a 4th lumber. I would have 4 for 1 the lumber in for the 4th paper, and I would have had the green metropolis on this turn. But that 6 being shut down was... Ay. That was a really heads-up play by gray. But, man, if gray had just placed it somewhere on red, then I would have been able to get that green metropolis this turn. Sometimes those one little actions, you won't realize it until the next few turns later, but they will have a huge impact on what you were trying to do in the game. So I go ahead, I bring a 9 over to myself because I know 9s have been getting rolled a lot this game. And I'm like, let me put it on the sheet where the 4 was. I maybe should have put it on the 11 lumber at the top of your screen so I could have got even more paper. Let me know what you guys think about that. I do have Commercial Harbor though, so there is a chance still. There's still a chance. But I think I'm going to hold off on that because I'm not sure if every player has commodities. And I definitely want to see if I can get an 11 roll, maybe even a 6. Okay, so there goes a 9. So I am getting cloth now. So now for me, because I know I'm probably not going to be able to take Longest Road, I'm really trying to put that on Gray. I maybe should have even said in the chat, hey, Gray, do your best to take Longest Road, because if Red holds onto it and they build on that 10 ore, they're going to jump up to 14 victory points, and then we're all going to be in trouble. Because then they'll be 1 Metropolis away, 4 paper or 4 coin away from winning the game. There goes a 12. Thankfully, science bonus is a thing, so even though 12 get rolled, people can actually still get cards. There goes medicine, so finally, Gray will be getting a city, and they will put it exactly where I would have put it on that lumber port, and doubling down on the 4-8, getting some paper, and they point a ship. It looks like they may go ahead and build another ship to the 10 ore hex. So now they're both going to get 3 additional victory points, and it's just insane. Okay, so I do have Crane. If Red does not take the Green Metropolis this turn, it's mine. Because I can 4-for-1 sheep for a 3rd paper, use Crane, and get the Green Metropolis. Of course, if I roll a 7, it's all messed up. But actually, I should have enough cards to burn off, lumber and cloth and wheat and still be okay. Oh no. Blue trade away a sheep to Red, and they have a sheep port. Okay, so they built a settlement. Now they're up to 14. Oh no. Oh no. This might be over right here before we can do anything. So I was going to hold Red back by building the Green Metropolis, and Gray should have held Red back by building Longest Road, but it looks like Gray might have enough cards. Yep, they're trading in for paper. They had Crane too. That's insane. So now they only need 3 paper to take the Metropolis because Crane acts as your fourth paper in this scenario. And there goes the Metropolis, and it's all over. Wow, what a game! And a lot of it came down to Gray placing the robber on my 6 lumber hex, and I would have gotten the Metropolis that last turn. But because I was delayed until this turn, Red was able to swipe it right before I could swipe it. Man. Either way, though, Red might have been able to trade in for some coin and get the blue Metropolis. So either way, we may not have been able to hold them back for long. But these are just some ways you can hold back the leading player when you're playing Cities and Knights, and it's clear that you may not be able to win. Just stick it out, because you may have an exciting ending if you can hold back the leading player long enough for other players to catch up. So thank you guys for watching. That was my 114th Catan video. I will see you guys in number 115. Take care.